Once upon a cursed dawn, within a forest twisted by grief and forgotten gods, there lived a girl known among fearful tongues as Black Scarlet. Cloaked in the blood-dark fabric gifted by a stranger whose eyes had gleamed like dying stars, Black Scarlet was sent often between distant villages, an errand girl threading the veins of the wood where daylight rarely lingered. One pallid morning, Black Scarlet's mother pressed into her hands a wicker basket heavy with offerings, crusted bread, blackberries slick with dew, and a vial of elixirs that shimmered faintly, as though alive. These, her mother claimed, were meant for a frail grandmother who lay deep in the forest's throat. As Black Scarlet stepped onto the path, a low mist coiled around her ankles, pale tendrils crawling, clutching, whispering. The forest watched her with its 1,000 unseen eyes. Each step she took disturbed the hush of something that did not sleep. No traveller had crossed that way without leaving some fragment of themselves behind. The old tales murmured that the wood hungered, not for flesh, but for memory, for innocence, for the soft pulse of a name still believed to be whole. A voice rose from the mist then, smooth, lilting, wrong. It spoke her name, tasting it as if savouring it. Black Scarlet heard it speak of her purpose, her destination, her small burden of hope. The voice promised guidance, the voice promised care, yet its promise was shaped like a snare. The figure that emerged was tall, draped in silk shadows that breathed and pulsed like living smoke. His grin was carved too wide, his eyes 2 stars reflected in deep water. He spoke of safer paths, of shorter ways, of a grandmother who waited but not where she remembered. Black Scarlet continued forward, though his words clung to her thoughts like cobwebs. Around her, the trees bent closer, their bark resembling the curve of spines, their roots the twisted fingers of the dead. The air itself thickened, tasting of iron and regret. When Black Scarlet reached the cottage, the door yawned open. The scent of decay floated from within, perfumed faintly by herbs that could not mask the rot. A voice, familiar yet hollow, called her name. Inside, the fire burned low, painting everything in bruised light. Upon the bed lay a shape wrapped in quilts too heavy for breath. Black Scarlet's pulse slowed, her eyes narrowing. The figure beneath the covers shifted with a strange, deliberate grace. The voice, her grandmother's voice, though twisted by something old and endless, spoke of sight sharpened by darkness, of ears tuned to confessions whispered through grave soil, of hands shaped by centuries of hunger. And then came the revelation. The quilts fell aside, and the shadow from the woods unfolded itself from within. The same grin, the same eyes, only now unmasked, raw, infinite. The creature's form shimmered between man and void, between hunger and sermon. It leaned close to Black Scarlet, its breath carrying the scent of the forgotten. It told Black Scarlet that the path was never meant to end, that she had walked it before and would walk it again, that every step only deepened the cycle. Child, wanderer, prey, shade. When it smiled, Black Scarlet saw herself reflected in its teeth. The forest exhaled. The fire died. The cottage, the basket, the memory, all dissolved into the mist. Only the cloak remained, darker now, the red long drowned in black. From that night onward, no one spoke her name without a shudder. Travellers whispered that Black Scarlet still roamed the forest's veins, her cloak trailing whispers, her eyes gleaming with the same fevered hunger that once hunted her. And the wood, patient as time itself, waited for the next name to call.